Hiya crafty folks, Amy here with amyswares, and I have some layered stamping and die cutting to share with you today. Now I have a new to me cover plate die here that I'm going to use in the background of today's cards. This is from, can't think of the name of it. Play something. I'll link it below. Anyway, here's a photo of the finished card to show you the direction that we're headed. But I'm Photoplay, there we go. It went off screen and I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Does that ever happen to you? Anyway, I'm just going to take this cover plate on its maiden voyage and I'm basically going to cut it, I think 2 or 3 times through my die cutting machine through this heavyweight cardstock because I want to build it up and layer it on itself to give some dimension and create the background of my card. So I'm going to just lay this down on the cardstock, run it through my die cutting machine, and then I'm going to have the arduous task of getting all these little parts out of this crazy detailed background die. But it's so pretty, right? That's what makes it worth it. So I'm going to tack it down with some mint tape. I have this tool that I couldn't even begin to tell you the name of. If I can find it, I'll link it below, but it did help me get some of the little parts out. I did massively speed it up because, you know, nobody's got all day to sit there and watch me poke out all those little fiddly bits. But it's got this really pretty floral design and all these cool cutouts. So I think I did just do 2, and that's all my patience would allow. And because y'all know I don't like liquid glue usage and I have tons of these micro dots, I'm going to use them to stack these together because I don't have the patience for anything else at this moment. So I run this inside and kind of burnish the back of this micro dots all over it, and you can see I got other little die cut pieces that weren't fully out of there, but I'm going to line these 2 up and it's going to give it a nice little element of dimension. And I'm going to have a nice white on white background. I'm going to attach this down directly to a card base. So this cover plate is USA 2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it will fit perfectly on the front of this card base that I have ready to go. And again, micro dots and extra little parts that I got to pick off, but eventually we get there. And I will lay this down directly on top of the card base. So that's going to create the really pretty textured, raised, white on white goodness. Now, I want to bust out my Concord 9th floral here. I deliberately picked one that I knew I had the coordinating die for because I knew I wanted to do some sort of floral. Obviously, I can't really stamp on top of that textured die cut, so I decided to stamp with my VersaFine Clair and my Misty the outline of this gorgeous, lovely floral stamp. I'm going to stamp this down, and then basically I'm going to add some color by the layered components of this stamp set. So I love, 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 love Concord 9th. It's one of my absolute favorite companies. I love everything about their stamps. I feel like they can be really classic and pretty, or they can be graphic and kind of funky, and I just love them. So I'm just speeding up the drying time of my pigment ink because that is a pigment ink that is going to take longer to dry. Now, this particular set is a little tricky because it's not easy to line up because the pieces kind of aren't meant to line up perfectly. It's meant to look kind of messy and watercolory, and I think I forgot that. So I spent quite a bit of time fiddling without remembering that, oh yeah, it's supposed to kind of be a hot mess on purpose. So they don't really line up the greatest. You kind of wing it and just put in color where you want it. I didn't fill in all the components. I left some of it outline, but it's really cool and I love how it turns out. So I'm going to use these few colors from Catherine Pooler. These are a few of the newest ones in her line. It's Cotton Candy with an Olive and I think On the Lake. I have these 3 kind of in their own little box just because they're some of the newer ones. But I really like the 3 of them together. I feel like it gives kind of a cool, I don't know, vintagey look, especially with that with an olive. So I'm just figuring out the little parts that I'm going to fill in. Like I said, it is not exact at all. I don't even know if this stamp set is still available. If it is, I'll link it below, but you can see it's well loved. I've used it a ton. It makes a gorgeous outline stamp. It's gorgeous to emboss. You can color it in yourself or use these funky little layering stamps like I did. You can see the colors kind of overlap even, but I don't even care because it's meant to look messy and whimsy, and I feel like it just adds to the design. So again, I'm just working through various little pieces, kind of filling in the blooms, some of them with the different colors, and then I will finally come in with that with an olive and just do, I think, just a few of the leaves just to add that third color. And the leaves are even harder to line up. I mean, this one kind of made sense, but yeah, they just really, they don't make sense. So I'm just going to warn you now, when you get these layering stamps, you're going to be like, what? Where does this fit? But you can see in the end result, it's just, that's its charm, is that it's not really meant to line up perfectly. So I really like that about it. Nearly done with the layered stamping here. You can do as much or as little as you want, as many different colors. Like I said, I was being a little lazy and these 3 colors were together in a box and I like how they look. So that's what I went with. So now I'm lining up the coordinating die. I'm going to hold that down with some mint tape, which I get from Scrapbook, and then I'm just going to run that through off screen through my die cutting machine. I use a manual die cutting machine. I have a Spellbinders Platinum 6. I've never used an electric one. I'm not familiar with them, but I'm really happy with the Spellbinders. And I'm just going to basically get this die off of here. You can see it has the little fun stamped elements that get kind of cut off, but they're there if you just do the stamping directly on, you know, your panel. But here I'm creating my own matching colored cardstock by just swiping direct to paper that on the link color onto that piece of scrap cardstock, and then I'm going to cut out the die Lovely that comes with this coordinating die set. So that's another thing I love about Concord and Ninth. Not only do they offer these gorgeous dies to cut out these detailed florals, but oftentimes they'll just throw in awesome word dies as well that you can use with the set or on their own. So just one of the many features that I love about Concord and Ninth. So I have this 1-inch foam tape that I also get from Scrapbook. Just going to use that to kind of pop up this floral on the front of the card. So there's going to be a little bit of dimension from the background die cut, which is 2 layers thick on top of the card, and then also this little bit of foam dimension for the floral itself to kind of pop that off. So another way to save some time and not deal with fiddly foam bits like I am here is to just cut out some sheets of foam, preferably adhesive back foam, with that coordinating die cut. So then you could have even dimension all the way behind that flower if you wanted to save some time. So this is a sub-sentiment that I'm going to just trim so I can use the UR. These are simple strips from Tailored Expressions, and they're fancy dancy storage boxes that you can get, which I absolutely adore from Tailored Expressions. If I remember, I will try and link. I did a video recently about the storage boxes and added some new stamps that I got. They're not new to her lineup, but they're new to me. And I absolutely love the whole storage unit and all the sentiment strips. So here I'm just kind of covering up some little errant white embossing with some black marker. I'm just being precious there. It's not really a big deal. But I was able to cover it up a little bit with a black marker. So here's all the pieces together. I popped up that UR with a little thin foam strip, added some blingage, and that's going to finish my card. So lots of components, a little bit more complex than I usually make, but it's really pretty. It's got lots of dimension, and I was able to use that new die for the background. So thanks so much for spending time with me today. I'll catch you next time. Bye.